Hello and welcome to the Eye Patch special report on ScotRef. Hey, here we go. So what do we think, lads? Dave?
Well, I watched it live today on the BBC News channel, and I thought Nicola Sturgeon was absolutely tremendous. She was so informative, wasn't it true? I thought it was a great speech. It was a ministerial speech.
A leader's speech.
A leader's speech, an absolute leader's speech, and it talked about planning a lot. It talked about how we were going to go about this, what we were going to do, what she was going to look at, how we were going to explain to people how it was going to work. I thought also the questions at the end she handled incredibly well. She really handled them absolutely well. She let everybody have their say, and as usual was open and honest, and that's how she comes across, as an open and honest
She was getting asked questions
conviction.
all the usual suspects.
The usual suspects. Well, it was Brian Taylor and the STV guy, but the usual questions that try to trip her up and all the rest of it. But she just answers them. She's obviously, and this is what surprises me, that people didn't see this, she's a conviction politician. It's what she believes in. It's as simple as that. Yeah, they're saying the polls are only 60%. She believes we have to go for it, and that's really the case. For the benefit of Scotland, we have to go for it, and go for it in the timescale that she described. And I thought she described that timescale very well, and the reasoning behind it very well indeed.
Well, I think personally, I mean, we were just talking earlier about the odds and the bookies and stuff for the next referendum, Dave, and I think and I've got a wee story just to say that, you know, I think the bookies could be right. I think.
Well, I looked at the odds straight away, and it's 6-4 on. 6-4 on a yes this time, and it was about 74 against, 5-4 against. I can't remember, but it was certainly odds on.
So you've got that 5, and I'll put it on Facebook.
Right, I'll put it online tonight.
That's right.
I'm not a gambler.
You're not a gambler?
I'll give you 5 or 10 because I don't gamble nothing.
Can I say as well, just as a quick aside, I have bets running from the last referendum. I have 3 bets of about 60 quid, I can't mind, that there would be another referendum before 2020. And I was getting about 3-1 on that.
Well, it looks like you're going
and
to
that looks as well, that one's okay. And the other bet, I've got another.
I'll see you in the pub the next time we're up there.
And I've got another bet that Scotland will be an independent country within the European Union by 2025. That's what Paddy found.
Drinks
and
the
that was
meal.
3-1.
Drinks and the meal.
Maybe, but that was a bit longer because that's 2025. That was going to come in by. But yes,
I've got a good story to tell. I mean, like the last independence referendum. I mean, I can remember sitting in my mother and father-in-law's back garden, and we were discussing the independence referendum, and they were really concerned about their pensions and stuff and blah blah blah. And one of their pals arrived, and obviously he was a pensioner as well. And we were sitting talking about it, and basically they were like, "Well, what about this and what about that and what about this and what about that?" And I'm sitting there thinking, I didn't get the answers to these questions. But I think, but now, like obviously we lost that referendum. I think 2 years later, and obviously we've done a wee bit of research. I've got myself a wee bit more up to date with what's actually happening and stuff. And now, obviously with Brexit happening, I think my in-laws have sort of looked at it now in a different way. I think they honestly think that Europe is going to be a big issue in the next ScotRef. And they've actually said they're going to vote yes due to Brexit. So it's a huge issue, I think.
We're not at the stage where we can vote yet. We've got a process to get there.
Yeah.
So we have to think about the process now. What Nicola Sturgeon said today in a very good leader's speech. Take note, Jeremy Corbyn. That's how you lead. That's what she done today. Is she laid out a process. So next week she is going to ask the authority of the Scottish Parliament to arrange a Section 30 order with Westminster. Now, I was listening in on the radio as I was driving to my work, and immediately after the speech from Nicola Sturgeon, the Radio Scotland presenter rephrased that from ask authority to arrange into ask permission. Now, the first caller that came on was banging on about UDI. He didn't think Nicola Sturgeon had went far enough. He wanted UDI. He thought UDI was the way to go. And he said you can't trust Westminster and we should just go UDI and go now. But that's not what Nicola Sturgeon said, because she's not a nationalist in that sort of fervour.
Yeah.
She's a modern democratic politician, and she doesn't want to make the decision. In her own words, it's not the decision of one person.
Yeah.
They can.
It's the decision of the Scottish people.
It's the decision of the Scottish people that's paramount. So she's not going to ask permission, she's going to ask authority of the Scottish Parliament to seek, to arrange a Section 30 order from Westminster so we can have a referendum. Now, I don't expect Westminster to say no.
No, no.
Because
it's not their interest to
if
say no.
they say no, we will use Thatcher's measure. That is on the table.
The majority of
There's
MPs.
that caller once calling about UDI.
Yes.
Thatcher's method said
Majority of MPs.
the majority
in
of
Westminster.
Scottish MPs to vote for
Yeah.
independence is all we need. So that is always there. Now that is not the preferred route, but it is our route. So for that reason and that reason alone,
Westminster will say yes.
Westminster will say
the
yes to Section 30 order. So we can think that we are going to be having an independence referendum between the autumn of 2018 and the spring of 2019.
Yeah.
We will have that referendum before Brexit is scheduled. However, Brexit is not a fixed time frame.
No.
And so that referendum might not be fixed. But that's the dates that she said. So the process is go to the Scottish Parliament, where between the Greens and the SNP there's a numerical majority in favour of independence. So that's not a problem to ask that authority, that should be granted. And that's to arrange the Section 30 order, which, for that very UDI reason, that should not be a problem. And then we've got the timing of Brexit. That's the time frame. So we can expect that Brexit will run the 2 years and that it will be in that window. But it might not be. And everybody goes back to once in a lifetime. Well, that is the preferred time, not the actual stated time written down in stone. So we've got that. But today I was working up in Fife and I was doing my day job and I was speaking to a woman who was Finnish, and she had a lovely little 3-year-old kid, and she was married to a Scotsman, and her husband voted Remain, but he's of the opinion, he's quite happy that as the UK's decided to go for Brexit, he's quite happy that they're going for Brexit. And I said, but does that not have any impact on you, and on your status, right to remain? She says, well, I'm self-employed, so it should be okay. And I said, do you really want to risk that? And that's what really worries me. You've got a 3-year-old kid who's half Scottish, half Finnish, might see her family torn apart, dependent upon her mother's continued ability to earn.
Yeah.
And I think that is despicable.
Yeah.
It's alright if you're going to go for Brexit, but you can't ruin a 3-year-old's life just like that.
One thought I had today about that was, what is the situation with getting the right to vote in this country for foreign nationals? If somebody's come from the European Union, when do they get the vote? Do they have to apply for a vote? They don't have to have
I
citizenship.
think it's basically if there's living in Scotland, they get a vote, is it not?
Do you know?
There is not one answer to that.
Is there not?
It depends on the franchise.
But if it's the same franchise as the last time, then the EU nationals will get the...
No, not necessarily. The last time we had a fair referendum for all the people who chose to live in Scotland, then you were pretty much entitled to a vote, because we believe in civic nationalism. No, not nationalism, civic nationality. So if you live in Scotland and you intend to live in Scotland,
I didn't know what the qualification
it
is.
doesn't matter on your where you're born. Then if you consider yourself Scottish, you're Scottish. That's what we believe in, and we had an open ref the last time. But on Brexit, David Cameron closed that in.
Yeah.
So he didn't let anybody.
It was only UK nationals that were allowed
It
to
was
vote.
only UK nationals allowed to vote, and UK nationals that were out of the country less than 15 years. So if you're out of the country more than 50 years, you didn't get a vote. If you're out less than 15 years, you did get a vote. But so it depends on the franchise.
We were speaking to the Romanian lassie that does a bit of cleaning for us today, and we were saying to her, she's been here 6 months, and we were saying to her, you must register and get a vote. But I don't know what the stipulation is. When can she register? How long is it going to be? What was it for the last one? I don't know what it was.
But that's even if she does
obviously
register,
we'll go for the same.
if she does register, there's no guarantee she will get a vote, because it all comes in the franchise. Now, if you go back to the ref, the last time, if we had used exactly the same kind of franchise as was used in Brexit, Scotland would be independent now, because the Scottish-born voted for independence.
Yes.
Now, we didn't do that, because it's not only Scots-born people that want to live here, and it's not only Scots-born people who need to live here. If we took all the immigrants out of the hospital in Kirkcaldy, it would have to close.
Yeah.
So we don't want just Scots-born. So if we're going to create a country for people to live here, we should give them all.
We need to include everybody.
But that was the point, and this is a group of people we must make sure does have the vote, know what it's about. Because remember last time speaking to Polish people, and they were saying, oh no, I can't vote for independence because I'll lose my residency of the UK, because you won't be in the European Union, I'll lose my residency in Scotland. But I now need to know what that period is, so when we're speaking to people on the doors, how long will they have? Now, okay, it depends on that,
the franchise.
What was the franchise last time though? I don't know what it was.
I don't know, but
and I would assume it'd go for the same, because it was very fair.
So before we get the franchise...
I always presumed that the franchise was just anybody that lived in Scotland.
That's what we all thought. That's what we all thought. We all thought that
anybody
the UK was free and fair like that. And then in Brexit we found out it wasn't. And
no, I'm talking about, I know that, but with the different franchises.
Well, this is really important, Gav, because there's 3.3 million Europeans living in the UK. But the difference between remain and leave was 1 million. So that there's 3 times as many people were excluded from the vote as what the difference in the vote was. But there was also 12 million that hadn't made their mind up. Brexit is totally unsafe. It's 37.4% of the electorate on that franchise voted for Brexit. But we're told 52%, but it's not 52%.
So we're agreed we have to get the foreign nationals living in this country, and we have to target them to some extent, because they are ones who are likely to change from no to yes, the ones that did vote in the last one.
The first thing to do is to get the franchise sorted.
Ah, well, yeah.
And that goes without saying, but what Dave's saying is that he thinks that the what's the word for that again? The foreign nationals that are living in Scotland, i.e. the Poles, the Germans, the French, all of the EU, that will be, if the franchise is exactly the same as the last time, what Dave's, well, I presume what he's saying is he's saying that if it's really important that they get the vote again next time, because they will most probably change from no to yes, for the reasons that
you're wrong.
Why?
The important reason that they should get a vote is because they're committing to live the rest of their life here and be a productive member of our society. That's why they should get a vote. No other reason.
No,
if you want to live in this country, you should have a say in how it goes. But that's the only principle. It should not be based on how you explain the vote. That's ridiculous.
Well, I didn't quite phrase
No,
it.
no,
but that
that's
is
what
what you
I'm
did
saying.
say. And
These
that's-
were people who are making
that's
a
wrong.
decision the last time on an unsound premise.
Yeah, what we have to
And
do
now
is
the premise is very sound.
we have to have the franchise sorted. And
Yeah.
we want an open franchise. We want it as open as possible and inclusive as possible. Everybody who considers themselves to be a civic Scot. That's somebody who intends to live the rest of their life in Scotland, whether they identify as Scottish or not. But they're going to they intend to stay the rest of their life in Scotland. They should have the vote.
So who else do we need to target to get this? Who else do we have to get?
It's
The
not-
other big tranche of people, well, we do have to get people to change. You have to get people to vote for yes. And the other big
But Dave,
faction to me is those who are going to vote no because of the European Union.
The-
How do we convince them people that voted yes
The
last time
arguments-
that are Brexiters?
the arguments come after we've set the process. We should not pick the franchise based on the answer we might get. We should get the franchise based
No, I'm assuming
on,
the franchise will be the same as last time.
That's what
That's
I
the
think.
target.
That's what
we
I'm
should
thinking.
have we should have the franchise based on people who want to live here.
Aye.
But
Same as the last time.
the franchise is not solely in the SNP's control. It's not solely in the Scottish Parliament's control. There might be an element of it that ends up involved in this Section 30 order. There might be some interference from Westminster. But what we need to do is get the franchise sorted. And then once we have the franchise sorted, we need to persuade everybody to vote yes.
Well, I'm sure if
Because we will never have too many.
I'm sure if Sturgeon
No.
finds out that Westminster are fiddling with the franchise and trying to make it in their benefit, I'm sure she's going to come out and tell us. I mean, and say, oh, by the way, Westminster didn't want EU nationals to vote in the next ScotRef, and then everybody's going to go, well, that's not fair, then, is it? Okay, what I mean? I'm sure us three sitting at this table, but would they agree on that one? You know what I mean? You know. So I think basically, if it's any different from the last franchise, then I think then I'm going to be happy with it, like, put it that way.
Well, the franchise isn't solely in our control, but we should be trying to have an open and fair franchise. And that's what we can say right now.
I agree with
That's
that,
what
open
we
and-
should say. And it shouldn't be based on how you're going to vote. It should be based on where you intend to live.
Yeah, but I go back to
So
the
once-
big tranche
once
of
we've
people that didn't want independence because they've got to wear tartan trousers, i.e. be part of the European Union, and they will vote no for that. These are people I do not understand, and I do not know how to convince them.
There will
I
always
need to
be.
be able to convince them. And I've met a couple, we were out canvassing a couple of weeks ago,
That's-
there's a couple of
that's a good
guys at the
question, I
door that said
That's a
no.
good question. I think we should maybe leave that
I didn't
to
want,
another night.
well, maybe. I didn't want all these immigrants coming in. I didn't want to be part of the European Union. Jim Sillars, what's Jim Sillars thinking? He's fought for independence all his life and now he's going to vote against it because it involves the European Union, or is likely to. It doesn't even guarantee it's likely to.
Right, so we've come back to process. We're coming back to process. So we've got the reason that we're having ScotRef
Aye.
is because of a disparity of how we view our place in the world with how Westminster views their place in the world. So Westminster want to go independent from the EU and Scotland want to remain in the EU. That's why we're having the possibility of a ScotRef.
Yes, that was one of the
Now-
strongest things Nicola
now-
said. It's
now-
where we want to go as a country. That's what it's about. It's where we want to go, what
Now-
we want to be.
The thing is, how do we get to decide? We get to decide by being independent. So the way to persuade people is to persuade people that Scotland should be independent and make its own decisions. If we do become independent within the EU by following the process that Nicola Sturgeon laid out today, and we find out afterwards that the EU is not to our liking, we can then leave the EU. But we will have all those choices on the table by being independent.
Well, I think
So we
it's-
should be independent so that we can make those decisions. But the thing to persuade people to become independent and to stay in the EU and all that is to really understand the EU.
I
Now
was just-
in Brexit, We did not have a proper discussion on the EU.
Well,
There
I'm
was
just gonna-
no time for that.
I was going to say that I've got one pal, right? And I think that this is a good topic for another night actually, but I'll just quickly say this. I've got one pal.
You got one pal, Gav? We can, you got one
voted-
pal.
Did he die, please? Right, he was one pal. He voted yes at the last referendum, right? He's now turned around and says, he hates the EU and he's voting no this time, right? And I've tried to say to him, right? Obviously, I'm the same as Dave. I'm like, well, why? I mean, why? I mean, he says because he doesn't believe that Scotland remaining in the EU as a official and an independent country. He still thinks that we're going to be ruled by the EU, and it's and then so what I've done is I've tried to discuss with him where Westminster has what percentage of rule does Westminster have over Scotland compared to the percentage where the EU has influence over Scotland? Because I didn't believe personally the EU does rule Scotland. I think it's shared responsibility, shared sovereignty when it comes to the EU, right? But with Westminster, it's domination.
Next week we'll have to do the EU.
That's it.
Next week we'll have to do the EU because there's loads of that. And we do sovereignty in the EU. That's a whole series of programmes.
That's it.
Fair enough.
But
Fair enough.
are we finished?
Because we could talk all night about that.
Aye.
And
We could.
Dave's want to go here for a bottle of wine, everybody.
Well,